Well, yesterday's video was interesting, wasn't it? Shout outs to you guys who watched the video and agreed with me. Shout outs to you guys who watched the video and disagreed with me. That's what I like on this channel. I don't want a cult mentality. At least not quite yet. I haven't prepared the Kool-Aid yet. But today we're getting a little bit back more on brand with stuff and talking about actual video games. If you missed yesterday's video, go check it out. It turned into like a 20-minute passionate rant about just how crazy I think some things are in the actual world. But today we're going to be talking about something that's always a hot topic, and that is digital video games. Now, digital video games are something that is a convenience factor, but there are lots of things sort of attached to digital video games that have negative connotations. Of course, the fact that you technically don't own the game, you kind of rent a license for the game. The fact that when a storefront closes down, if you didn't buy the game in time, like something we saw on the 3DS or the Wii U, that was a digital only game, that game is no longer available. You can never get it again, and emulation is the only way. You can't trade in digital games and stuff like that, at least not yet. But digital games are a bit of a convenience factor, and I gotta be honest with you guys, when it comes to like PlayStation 5 stuff, I buy a lot of my games digitally. Spider-Man 2, I bought that digitally. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I got a review copy of the game, so that's a digital copy. And that's a game, man, at times I absolutely love it, and at times I want to strangle it. Like, who thought a grappling hook was a good idea? Why is there a grappling hook in this game? But then I get into the combat, and it's just so much fun. But sticking with PlayStation, especially digital games on PlayStation, there's a very interesting situation that is happening right now where PS5 owners are losing access to literally hundreds of games as digital purchases because they're no longer in their account and they can't re-download them. Then we also have another situation with WB Games delisting a bunch of digital only games, and then we have another situation with a PS5 demo that went up that they then took away from you because it wasn't time to do it yet. And it really paints a very interesting picture about this all digital future. So we're going to cover all of this stuff in this one video. Who knows, maybe this will be another 20-minute yell fest like yesterday's video was. Subscribe if you're new and hit the like button or dislike. So this is coming to us from metro.co.uk, and this is a story that's been updated a couple times, and I've seen some people talking about it, but really not enough for my liking. So we are going to focus in on this. And hey, now I'm on camera. So PS5 owners lose access to hundreds of games as digital purchases wipe from their account. A strange bug is removing people's games on PlayStation 4, 5, and Vita, and Sony doesn't have a fix. So when you read this article, which I will link to in the description box down below, basically what is happening here is that some content is now being inaccessible. Over 50 PlayStation owners have reported that their digital games are going missing. One affected by the bug went onto Reddit to explain what's going on and vent their frustration that they can no longer access some of their games in a post that has attracted others with the same problems. So this is coming to us from dude named D-Suds, or a person named D-Suds. For the last few months, there has been a bug impacting a relatively small amount of PlayStation Network users, in which all digital licenses, including purchased games and titles added to one's library via PlayStation Plus, become decoupled from your transaction history, which shows you purchased these things. And essentially, what that is doing is you can't re-download the game with this bug. The bug wipes the games from your account, and to make it worse, D-Suds adds that you are affected by the bug. You can't re-download the missing games as your PlayStation account won't let you. And you could kind of like research this on your own, read the rest of the article, how this is a thing. And yes, it is a small amount of people, but the fact that, you know, when you have something that impacts a small amount of people, you have to think only a small amount of people are going to the one place in order to get that information or to put that information out there. There could be hundreds of other people that are being impacted by this. And the fact that Sony doesn't have a solution for this, that's absolutely terrifying, because the mantra, the mindset has always been, well, if I buy this game, even if a game gets delisted, and we'll talk about some delisted stuff in just a moment, but even if a game gets delisted, that's okay. I still have that game on my hard drive. I can still access that game. But in this situation with PS4, PS5, and PS Vita games, you can't. And it's not like Vita games are necessarily cheap to replace if you want to play one of them that you bought digitally and you're like, oh, well, I guess I could just pick up a used copy of a Vita game. Like, no, you're not doing that unless you want to, you know, take a loan out at the bank. Some of those Vita games are ridiculously expensive. But the fact that Sony has no solution to this is extremely concerning, because what if one day I turn on my PS5 and my digital library is essentially locked out? I'm losing tons of games. You know, that's not even including stuff that you get through PlayStation Plus Premium and stuff like that, because that's also being affected as well. So now you're not even talking about games that you've actually purchased. You're talking about games that you are accessing via a server that you have access to because you're paying this exorbitant price to Sony to get access to the games. I think this is just bizarre, and it's a really scary thing, especially if it happens to you and you are a digital connoisseur. You know, people always say, well, buy the physical, buy the physical. But even the physical game, you know, sometimes that doesn't do it justice, especially when there's substantial patches, especially when the physical game has to access an online server in order to download the stuff, because all the CD is essentially a key that allows you access to download more stuff. And I don't know, man. So that's one situation going on with Sony. This next one actually involves Steam, but Warner Brothers Discovery will likely delist all Adult Swim games within 60 days, excuse me. A list of all the titles of Adult Swim games on Steam. So Rick and Morty VR, Samurai Jack Through Time, Duck Game, which I remember that coming out, but all these games. These are just a handful of games, but I believe there are more games that are going to be impacted by this. They're all going to be delisted. So gone. Digital-only games. Digital-only games on Steam, absolutely gone. You want to buy that game? Well, kiss your ass. I don't know. I was going to say kiss your mother's ass, but that was kind of weird, but now we've already said it. But, like, what are we doing here? Why are these games getting delisted? I want to bring this back up again, because when you look at like release dates of these games, like none of it makes sense. I'm assuming that it has to do something with a purchase or selling off of something like this. 2015 for Duck Game, 2020, 2016, 2013. Games from 2013 are being delisted. Let's look at the Ars Technica article. WB Discovery pulls indie game for business changes. So once again, there it is. What you have today, you don't necessarily have tomorrow. And there's really no sort of, you know, substantial amount of warning. There's no real sort of substantial, you know, shot fired into the air. You know, you got 60 days, but that's only if you're looking at this stuff online. Like, what if you end up becoming a fan of Rick and Morty or something like that, which God have mercy on yourself. It was okay. It was an okay show. But like, what if you end up becoming a fan of it after this? And you're like, oh, there's a VR game. Let me get that for my VR headset on Steam. Oh, go to hell. Oh, I like Samurai Jack. I really got into this franchise. Let me get this. Oh, no, can't get it on my Steam account. Like, why? Why? It's already on there. Unless you're selling the properties off to someone, who cares? The games have already been paid for. The licenses are already there. It's already up there. Unless the license is lapping on it, like we've seen with stuff, or lapsing, I should say, like we've seen with stuff with racing games, but none of those games were racing games. And then finally, bringing everything back full circle, we're going back to Sony, because there was a glitch today that happened where you could access a demo that you are not supposed to have access to, pal. Marlin Gaming Nation, friend of the channel. Shout out to Marlin Gaming Nation. Go check out his YouTube channel. He does like live streams every day and stuff like that. Message from PlayStation regarding Stellar Blade being removed from your PS5. This is some scary stuff. Somebody had butterfingers at Sony. This is why I love physical media. So if you downloaded the Stellar Blade demo that came up on PlayStation 5 today, I know Dreamcast guy made a video on it. I haven't watched it yet because I'm not super interested in the game. But if you downloaded it, they took it away from you. They said, no, you're not allowed to have this yet. Bad boy. If they would have just taken the demo down and certain people had access to it, okay. You know what? You done goofed a little bit. But the fact that they took it away from you, and now we're going back to what we were just talking about with the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 4 and the Vita games not being accessible in your account. Now they're taking out stuff that you've downloaded. It's already on your system because you happened to see that the demo went up. But no, we weren't ready for you that. I get it. People in the comments are going to be like, RGT, it's just a demo. It'll come back up, this, that, or the other. It's the principle. It's the principle of this. Like, you don't own anything. You really don't own anything nowadays, and that extends to everything because you got to pay taxes on everything. You buy a house, you got to pay taxes on the house. Oh, you bought a car for cash? Oh, you got to pay taxes on the car. You got to pay taxes every year. Why do you have to pay taxes every year? I don't know. It makes no sense. But what is this? What is this? You're literally buying games, and they're being removed from your account. Games that you might be interested in are being delisted because of business reasons. Demos that are available to you for download, and you download it legally. Everything about that was legal. It's not your fault as a consumer that it went up early. But the fact that they're willing to take that away from you and be like, oh, you got to wait a little bit longer. None of this sits right with me. None of this sits right with me. And it's going to be an ongoing problem. It's going to be something that isn't going to go away, especially the first topic that we talked about, because of the fact that, hey, there's no solution for it. If your account is screwed up, well, kiss your games goodbye. And I'm not kissing my games goodbye, pal. I still need to finish Rebirth. I've got over 100 hours in Gran Turismo 7. I think I have a physical copy of that, though, so I should be good. Although you need an online server just to play the damn game, you can't even play it offline. That was never fixed. Modern gaming sucks ass. Like, it's cool. Like, it's cool. There's a lot of cool stuff, but there's a lot of shitty stuff with it, too. And it's not going to get any better, bro. It's just going to get way, way worse. Enjoy what you have, because you might not have it tomorrow. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think of this topic. Are you someone who has been affected by this? Do you know someone who's been affected by this? What do you think about WB delisting games and the Stellar Blade situation? Did you get a chance to play the game before Sony said, not so fast, pal? Yoink! And as always, thank you guys for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share, hit the bell as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.